Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode here on the Deano Show. Elephant in the room, yes, fresh cut. Did just get a haircut. Actually, was that yesterday? Yeah, just got a haircut yesterday. I love going to get a haircut. I really do. G. Albert in New Canaan, they do it best. Nothing compares to G. Albert in New Canaan, Connecticut. They don't. Nothing ever compares. When I was abroad, when I was at school, it was always a pain in the ass to try to find a good salon. Good place to get a men's haircut. Couldn't really do it. All I really had was sports clips and like great clips where they just essentially take a pair of clippers or blades and just start buzzing your hair off. Here at G. Albert, no. Come in, sit down, shampoo, conditioner your hair, go sit in your chair, put you backwards, hot towel on the face, shoulder massage, haircut, go back to the shower, back to like the head soaker thing. I don't know what it's called. And then hot towel in the face again, scalp massage, back to the chair, finishing touches. It's amazing. I love G. Albert. So if you're in New Canaan, Connecticut and need a good haircut, check out G. Albert. Phenomenal. Not an ad. Wish it was, but not an ad. Welcome back to the Deano Show for this week's episode, July 16th, 2026. Crazy, man. We're more than halfway through 2026. Pretty crazy. But for the first topic of the day, we got the World Cup final. We have reached the World Cup final. I don't know what I'm gonna do without the World Cup. Been watching soccer so much the last month and a half, 2 months or so, and it's been great. Loved every second of it. So much fun to watch. The World Cup is my favorite sporting event, and it has just been epic. Every match has delivered. The later we've gone on to the World Cup, it has gotten so entertaining. The two semifinal matches we had France and Spain, where Spain pretty much kind of manhandled France. With all the talent they have on France, Mbappe, Doué, Dembele, they pretty much just shut them down. And Spain just, kept it simple, played good defense, scored and capitalized on chances when they needed to the most, and beat arguably the best team there, France. But, obviously not. They're not the best team. Spain is. So, again, another great match. And then England, I don't want to say they choked because they didn't really, choke. Yes, they had the lead. Giving up 2 goals in the last 10 minutes of the game. Pretty brutal way to go out for England, can't lie. England did look good. They just looked good throughout the entire match, but as it got towards the end of the, later in the game, sort of creeping towards 80th, 90th minute, you could definitely tell Spain was in control, and they were just not Spain, I'm sorry. You could definitely tell that Argentina was in control, and they were, a goal was bound to happen. It was one of those. And I would say in all of sports, a 2-goal lead is the worst lead to have. All the pressure is on you now, and you're just kind of playing way more cautious. We can't give up that second goal. You start kind of playing out of sync. And honestly, Argentina just outpowered them in the last 15 minutes of the game. That Messi cross was unbelievable. Just a classic little chip shot right to Lautaro Martinez, and it was just a picture-perfect goal. That's why Messi's the GOAT when you deliver plays like that. I think he assisted both goals, but I'm really looking forward to this Sunday match, the World Cup match, man. 90 minutes of football. Who knows? I'm pretty sure Spain's the favorite, and if Messi gets another World Cup, that'd be pretty crazy for him to win another World Cup, and now that he's won back-to-back, who knows? Spain is definitely the favorite on paper, but you can't piss off the GOAT. You can't bet against Messi, obviously, because what he's done in his career and then even this World Cup alone. So I think I'm going to go, I really don't know. It's total pick 'em. I can't really pick a team because I really like Lamine Yamal. He's a very exciting player, but then I also respect the legacy of Lionel Messi. I just want a good game. And if it goes to PKs, it goes to PKs. I don't really want it to go to PKs because I think a World Cup final being decided by penalty kicks, which essentially is a 50-50 shot, isn't the best way to do it. But like I said in a couple episodes ago, when it goes to 120 minutes and you're still tied, I understand, but I don't want it to go to PKs. I want there to be either an outright winner or a winner in extra time and just be a match that we'll look back on in 4 years from now and be like, yo, you remember that Spain-Argentina? That's what I'm looking for. Just a really good football match. Yeah, and then what a shame this past weekend. Total anticlimactic. I had a bunch of friends over at my house. We were celebrating my birthday. My brother had some friends over. We were watching the Argentina-Switzerland game outside. Got later in the night. We had a double setup in my living room. It felt like I was back in college. We had the big TV on the wall, and then we had my college TV on the ground. We had the McGregor fight on the big TV, And then we had the World Cup on the TV below that. Pretty much tuned in right after the Paddy fight, after he submitted him in the round 1. And then we go to the McGregor. Max Holloway walked out. McGregor walked out. You know, the table is set. McGregor, first fight back in 5 years. And he blows his knee out within the first 10 seconds of the fight. Probably less than that. Whole room is just, what is going on? You know, you see him stepping and then he's falling on his knees. I remember telling the person to my left, I was like, yo, is he like drunk? Like, he looked like he was just drunk. It was just like, what is going on? And then, you know, obviously he got to the point where he couldn't put any pressure on it. They stopped the fight. TKO Holloway. It is what it is. But I think, you know, the deeper story in terms of Conor McGregor as a whole, yes, he found God. Yes, he was on a spiritual journey, getting back to the healthiest version of himself. But at the end of the day, he is 38 years old, and to be fighting in, you know, that age for that long and that much wear and tear on your body, to then step away for 5 years, to then return to the biggest stage possible is a pretty crazy comeback. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done it. Of course he should have. I mean, he's a fighter. He's lived off that adrenaline, that walkout, that being in the cage mentality. That's what made him who he is. So I understand why he still wants to go back and fight. Absolutely. Do I think that, you know, he is more addicted to the feeling of the walkout, the energy, the just, I'm McGregor, I'm the face of the UFC. I think a lot of that feeling and a lot of that, almost kind of want to say ego, was kind of what got him back into the ring. I don't think it's, this may be a hot take, but I don't think it's as much the fighting as it is the attention and the adrenaline and the energy that comes from being in the ring and walking out. I think that's the feeling he's addicted to, and he's trying to find it elsewhere, and that's ultimately why he came back. And I think one of the reasons why he flew that leg kick was because he was so pumped up on adrenaline and he was so eager to start fighting again and get that feeling back in his body. And yeah, it was pretty sad. I definitely was like, like that sucks. That just sucks. I mean, who knows how long his recovery is. I don't even know if they've actually announced what he specifically hurt. If it was ACL, MCL, I don't know. Maybe they already did by now. I didn't see it, so I'm not totally sure. But yeah, I mean, it was just sad. It was just a sad sight to see. And, you know, do I think it's the smartest decision for him to come back? No. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does, because that's just kind of who he is. And it's Conor McGregor. Of course he's going to, you know. And he made also a shitload of money. He made a couple $1 million from fighting in that fight. And, you know, not too bad after all. And I know there were a couple clips, like the clip of him taking his shoe off and then like bouncing on one leg or not. So who knows if he was actually hurt before. There's a clip of him kicking and practicing and, you know, kind of sparring, you could say, before he actually walked down and looked like he might have hurt his knee there. So no one really knows. I think it'd be really hard for him to fake a knee injury for a couple weeks up to the fight. I just don't really see how that's realistic, how they could do that. But, you know, in this day and age, my opinion is just as good as yours. My observation is just as good as yours. I'm just totally speculating. But, yeah, pretty sad kind of way to go out if that was his last fight in the UFC. And so that brings us into our questions from you guys, which was, what score do you have to shoot to be considered a good golfer? I would say if you're out there breaking 90 consistently, you are considered a good golfer. If you can put together a round and, you know, bogey each hole, you know, sometimes you get the double, the 3-putt, the 4-putt, the chunked wedge by the green, you know, manage in that sense, I'd say you're a good golfer. Because if you're breaking 90 consistently, it means you're getting off the tee or at least keeping it in play. You're hitting good iron shots. You'll get the occasional birdie look. You're stringing together a couple pars, and you're just kind of playing bogey golf. I'd say you're a good golfer because the average golfer can't even break 100. So you're better than the average golfer if you're breaking 100. Then if you take it down another notch and break 90, you're definitely better than the average golfer. Definitely better than the people who can barely break 100. So yeah, if you're shooting in the 80s, playing bogey golf, I would consider yourself a good golfer. As long as you can put together a round, go out there, manage yourself on the tee box and the fairways, on the greens, and just not be hacking balls and slapping balls left and right and have no idea where it's going, I would say you're a pretty average golfer. So yeah, I would say if you're breaking below 90s, you're a good golfer. I've only broken 80 once, and that was down in Florida, North Palm Beach Country Club. I shot a 78. I was there on spring break with my grandma, played with 3 old people. And when you play golf with old people, the vibes are always high, regardless of your shot, whether it's left, right, straight. They're always going to say, good shot there. And that was just great for me. And, I didn't lose the ball that round. I shot it, 6 or 8 over. I think the par was a 70. I actually have the scorecard sitting right there. But I had the old fellow sign the scorecard, authenticate it. And that was a true 78. It wasn't no breakfast balls, nothing. I was just getting off the tee box, getting on the green from like 150 and in, 2-putting majority of the time. And yeah, that's the funny thing about golf is to break 80, okay, have good birdie looks at all the par 5s, par all the par 3s, no 3-putts, don't miss a green from 140 in, and you're going to break 80. Get off the tee box, keep the ball in play. Like, it sounds so easy for me to play. Then you get out there and a totally different game. Fat Perez from Bob Does Sports, actually. This is like the best example of golf. He basically said when you go golfing, you're dancing with the girl you got. You can practice in between rounds, try to get to the higher girl, to get to the better girl, to get to the more attractive girl. But for your golf game and when you are playing, you are dancing with the girl you got. And if you go after the really hot girl, the 10, you're going to get your ass kicked because you're not prepared to do so. And when he means the girl, he means the golf course. The golf course is going to kick you ass if you start trying to be all cute, do shots that you aren't capable of hitting. You're going to get your ass kicked. So you dance with the girl you brought. And like he said, practice in between rounds to get to the higher girl, but for that round in particular, you're dancing with the girl you brought. And I think that is just sums up the game of golf to the T. Take your medicine when you need to, and just simplify the game. Don't try to be crazy. Don't try to play hero ball, and just simplify the game. So I definitely, that's a goal of mine, to break 80 this summer. I shot like an 84 the other day. Solid round, but I had like a triple on one that just is unexcusable. That's 3 strokes right there. A couple 3-putts, couple knee knockers, 6-5 feet that I missed for par. So it's in there. It's definitely in there. And that's what makes golf so fun, is always trying to get to a better score. Another great question I got. This one, this is what is your favorite meal? This one's hard. Growing up with a mom who's a cook, I'm very spoiled when I have a lot of good food. And if you don't know that, my mom, yes, runs a cooking school, Culinary Works. Check her out if you want to book a cooking party and, corporate, birthday party, whatever you want. Check her out, culinaryworks.com. So my favorite meal from her, so like a couple nights ago, we had broccoli, sausage, orecchiette pasta. Phenomenal. That's definitely up there. Hot honey harissa chicken. I had that a couple weeks ago with some rice. That's also fantastic. But I think... Okay, I'll do it this way. Appetizers, steak and tuna crostini, by far the best. My favorite appetizers. Or the brookie nachos, which I just had for my birthday over the 4th of July, or this past weekend. Those are really good. She makes a phenomenal tuna crudo. I mean, I could just go on and on here, so I'm just going to keep it short. Tuna crostini, steak crostini, tuna crudo. Those are my favorite appetizers. A lot of tuna. I love tuna, especially when it's caught by me. It just tastes 10 times better. Hot honey harissa chicken, Mexican braised chicken, chicken parm, broccoli sauce orecchiette pasta. I love all that. Our tacos are amazing. And then for dessert, simple vanilla ice cream, chocolate chip cookie, homemade vanilla ice cream, by the way. Vanilla bean, homemade ice cream with a good, soft in the middle chocolate chip cookie. I people ask me this question a lot. What's your favorite meal your mom cooks? I really can't say, to be honest. I really can't say, but those are my best options for you. And then while we're on the topic of food, I got another question, which was, what is your last meal? What is your dying last meal? Dude. This might seem kind of crazy, but I think I'm going to go spicy tuna crispy rice. Gonna have a steak in there. We're kind of going all over the place here, but spicy crispy tuna rice, New York strip, and then probably a tiramisu for dessert. That's a pretty lonky last meal, but or I could go spicy rigatoni a la vodka, garlic bread, tiramisu. Those are my three. That's a pretty mixed bag for the last final meal. But those are my three. Those are my three for sure. In terms of that, best food experience and worst food experience. So the best food experience I've ever had was in Denver, Matsuhisa, which is a Nobu down in Cherry Creek. Sat at the sushi bar there and was talking to the sushi chefs. They are just a totally different world. They're so precise, and the attention to detail and how good the food tastes, it's just incredible. anytime you go to a really fancy, it could be sushi in this case particular, yes, the food is amazing, but the attention to detail and how like they drizzle sauce on the pot and how perfect everything is and how just precise and efficient they are, it is just an art. And it really is. I'm pretty sure it's called like that. They call it an art. I think when it takes like a couple years to get certified and be able to cook sushi rice over in Japan, like it's pretty high quality, especially when you're working at a Nobu. Like those guys know what they're doing. It's kind of been their whole life. They've probably spent so much time doing it. Yeah, that was probably my best meal ever, was Nobu out in Denver. And we also did the omakase there, which was just, you're walking out of that meal 10 pounds heavier, and they're just bringing things out, and you just can't say no, because why would you? You just can't say no, because you know it's going to be so good, whatever it is. And I'll actually be out there in a couple months or a couple weeks from now, and I will be going to Matsu to sit at the sushi bar and to have the same experience once again. Spicy, crispy tuna rice, off the charts. The black lettuce wrapped cod, phenomenal. The king crab's really good, then this is coming from someone who doesn't even like crab. The albacore sashimi sushi, it's just top notch. Anytime you go to a Nobu, it's so good. So those are my best experiences. My worst experiences, honestly, I haven't really had like a terrible dining experience. Even in Europe, I really haven't had a terrible dining experience. Maybe I've had bad service or something, but I've never had a place where the food was just awful and I just had a terrible, terrible dining experience. At least it's not coming to mind. So yeah, that's pretty hard. Terrible. I don't have a terrible dining experience. Yeah, but Matsu is definitely the best. So good. And I'm happy to spend a lot of money on really good food and cool dining experiences. Those are the things you should always look forward to spending money on. And I'm always okay spending a lot of money on experiences like that because it is totally worth it. Best skiing story in Denver. So this isn't really a story, but I mean, my best weekend skiing ever in Denver was when we went to X Games. 4 of us. I drove us to Aspen. We stayed outside of Aspen in a place called Glenwood Springs because trying to find a place during X Games week in Aspen was way too complicated, way too expensive. Aspen's one of the nicest and luxurious mountain resorts in all the world, so college kids were not affording to stay in Aspen. So we stayed in Glenwood Springs, which was about 45 minutes or so from Aspen, but we skied Snowmass, and it was just puking snow all day, and every single run was just fresh tracks, and I'm with all my buddies, and we're just screaming down the mountain, face shots, just pea, soupy, foggy, dark. It was just so much fun. Those experiences, I would pay. They're priceless. Like, you can't even put a price tag to how much fun those were. So then to head into Aspen, dick around in the village, get good food, go to X Games. That was a 100 out of 10 weekend. If you are in Denver and still in school, definitely go to X Games if you can. It is so much fun. So yeah, that's probably my best skiing experience. But in terms of stories, I mean, I've had disasters of getting to the mountain. I-70, I made a whole documentary about this. It's a total nightmare. One road in, one road out. That's all. Just I-70. That takes you from Denver. It takes you all the mountains. Copper, Abay, Vail, Winter Park. Yeah, it takes you to all the mountains. And when you can imagine in Denver, the whole city pretty much is going skiing, and it's a 2-lane highway, and it's just a total nightmare. The traffic is nonstop. I mean, some days that took me like 4.5 hours to get to the mountain because of how bad the traffic was. That was actually, we were going to Winter Park. Yeah, we left at like 7 on a Saturday, which was a bad decision on our part, but we didn't get to the mountain until 11:30. We had to park outside of the town because all the parking was full. Then we had a shuttle to Winter Park. We weren't on the mountain until probably 12:30, 1 o'clock or so. It was one of the worst traffic days of my life. And that's kind of they say, earn your turns. You got to wake up early and beat all the traffic. And it is rewarding when you do beat all the traffic. You're there for first chair. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling for sure. So hopefully those work for that question. I got another one. This is actually a really good one. Any band, dead or alive, that you would like to see live, and who would it be? There's a couple that come to mind, and I'll list off. I'd love to see Jimi Hendrix live. I mean, he's obviously one of the best guitarists of all time, and he was more than just a guitarist. He was just a performer, entertainer. The way he could just play guitar with his teeth every now and then and flip the card, all the theatrics that came with him. Really cool performer. Stevie Ray Vaughan, another phenomenal guitarist, one of the best of all time. Both those guys dying in their 20s, just so sad. Led Zeppelin, I think seeing Stairway to Heaven live or Going to California live, I think that's dream scenario. There's a video of them walking out of the Garden in like 1978. They just finished their show. Everyone's going nuts. They're just walking through the aisle. They got their shoulders back, their long hair. So hearing those people sing would be remarkable, but this is kind of not really a sleeper, but seeing Michael Jackson live, I think would be unbelievable. I think that'd be phenomenal. So but if I had to pick between Michael Jackson, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, it's between Michael Jackson and Led Zeppelin. That's really hard. Because they're totally different shows. Michael Jackson is more hip-hop and dancing and entertainment, and Led Zeppelin is guitar, rock and roll. I'd have to flip a coin on that, but those are my two I'd want to go see live. And where I would go see them live, you didn't ask this, but if I could go see them anywhere, MSG, world's most famous arena. I'd want to go see Michael Jackson or Led Zeppelin in that atmosphere at the Garden. And then one question I got was any niche hot takes. This might not be a hot take, but it's a take I kind of stand on, and I think season tickets are overrated. We got an email about Mets season tickets in the fall, or back in like November of 25, maybe even like October or so. If we wanted to put an inquiry about season tickets, what that would look like. And I think we had to put like $15,000, $20,000 down as a pre-deposit for not even knowing how many games you could even go to, or really knowing how many games you could make. You already had to initiate a deposit of $15,000 to $20,000 for those season tickets for the year. And if we had done that for this year, it would have been total waste of money because of how bad the Mets are, but that's besides the point. And one of the reasons why I think season tickets are overrated, because if I don't have season tickets, I can go to any game I want and buy any ticket I want in the arena or the ballpark, wherever it is. Versus when you have season tickets, depending on where they are, you're stuck in that one location forever. And then if you get invited to go, you're kind of going to feel guilty that you're not using your seats. But I mean, who would really get invited? If you have season tickets, you can make that argument. But I really do think season tickets are overrated, because just the amount of money you have to pay beforehand without knowing the team is good. And I guess you kind of have to do that. Like, I understand why they do that, but especially with the Mets, who are so unpredictable. I'm kind of basing this logic off a Mets fan, to be honest. So yeah, I wouldn't buy season tickets. I think they are overrated. And I also just think the freedom of going to any game you want, sitting anywhere you want, that way you don't have to worry about sitting somewhere else in the arena and you're not using your season tickets. And then I'm at a position in my life where I'm not going to be going to whatever it is, 82 baseball games, if not. And if I ever wanted to go to a game, I could just go online and buy a ticket. So unless you're really close to the arena or stadium, wherever it is, you're of older age and you're gonna commit to going to 82 games a year, I don't see why you would buy season tickets, because I like the freedom of going to any game I want, not have to worry about sell the tickets and dealing with all that. I bet it's pretty easy, but I think season tickets are overrated. Maybe a hot take, maybe not, but that's that. I got one other question, which was about one of the most important traits person should have, many different ways, but the first two I could say that came to mind were discipline and courage. I think with courage comes discipline, but I think courage is one of the most important traits you could ever have for yourself. And in my definition, in my eyes, courage means taking risks when you are uncertain about the outcome of the risk you are taking, knowing you may get some heat for it in the moment, that you may never know, it may never happen, and being okay with the fact of being looked at differently, being judged, getting clowned, you could say. Because if you live a life of no courage, if you don't ever have the courage to speak your mind or unpack your baggage that you have, chase a dream, or have the courage to do any of that, then your life is kind of just monotone. There's not much of a story there. Everyone likes the idea of the trust fund kid and how cool it is to have all the money and, have all the freedom and whatnot, but there's no story there. That's why I've always been an underdog. I like the underdog story better, because everyone sees themselves as the underdog. But to see yourself as the underdog, you have to be the underdog yourself. You have to have the courage to go out there and be the underdog and compete against the Typhoons of the world, to compete against the trust fund babies of the world. And I think courage and grit and like having that fuck you mentality is just a little chip on your shoulder every now and then. And that's kind of lacking in today's society. Everyone's kind of soft and people are afraid to speak their mind. And we need to get back to chip on your shoulder, I'm going to run you over type stuff. And not to say it doesn't exist. And of course it exists out there. But, you know, with cancel culture and how we need to accept everything and anyone and everyone, it's definitely kind of gotten softer as a time. And there's that quote that it's hard times create strong men create easy times create weak men. I feel like we're in the easy times right now because right now it's never been easier to just do absolutely nothing and just sit on your phone, doom scroll, go to your job, do whatever it is you got to do in your day-to-day life and just kind of fuck off. But it's also never been easier to win because your competition is distracted, constantly worried about their likes, notifications, and how many subscribers they have and what their friends think of them, how they're going to be looked at by their friends. You know, the choice is yours at the end of the day. And if you have the courage enough to step out into the world and speak what you believe in and trust your guts, trust your instincts, chase your dream, your life's going to be amazing. I'm not doing this, and I've said this before, but this is all for me. And just quieting the voice down in my head that is saying to me, you can be doing a lot more. And I can be. And your mind and your body is capable of achieving so much more than it seems to make you think. You know, just keep on pushing yourself and keep on striving to be the best version of yourself day in and day out. And it's going to lead you to good places and higher places that, honestly, places you may never thought you ever would have gotten to. And that's what courage brings, is stepping into the unknown without any clue to how to navigate it, but figuring out along the way. When I first did the Deano Show, I didn't really know what I was doing, how I was going to do it, what I would talk about on the episodes. That was like the number one fear for me. Is like, okay, I do the first one, then what am I going to talk about on the second one? And that was such a big thing for me. And so much of my struggle, so much of my problems is all psychological, and it's all just me overthinking. If you can have the courage to eliminate your fear, you're going to be so free. Like, you are just going to have so much freedom. It's all right there. You just psych yourself out. Or at least maybe not you, but me in particular, I psych myself out of so many things. The more I've stepped out of my comfort zone, the more I've put myself out there, the more courage I've developed over the last couple of weeks, couple of months, the more my world just opens up. And I'm just like, wow, like, no one really does care. This is for me. I'm doing this for me. Like, this is great. I can do so much more. Have the courage to be comfortable in your own skin, because in today's world, it's not as common, unfortunately, because of reasons I listed earlier. Those are the two most important traits I think a successful person has, is courage and discipline. Just be disciplined. It's hard. Of course it's hard, but that's the whole point, you know. If you want to be great, if you want to achieve great things, it's going to require courage, one, and it's going to require a lot of discipline. And it's also going to require a lot of unknown. And how long can you sustain the unknown? I don't know. But I'm not stopping this anytime soon. Regardless of what you think of me, you think this sucks, you think this is bad, or you think it's great, I'm going to keep on doing it because I'm doing this for me and I'm doing this for you guys as well. And I hope you guys are enjoying these. But I really am having a lot of fun. And I'm glad that I'm getting more attraction onto the Instagram and more people are swiping up, people I haven't heard from in a while or years or so. So it's really cool to see that you guys are doing this. Be courageous in your life. Go after the big things. Chase that freedom, because it's yours for the taking. It's totally yours for the taking. You just have to be the one to have the courage to go after it. And I think that's the best advice I could give you, is have courage to believe in what you believe in and believe you can get it, because through time, through effort, through hard work, you can and you will get there. It's just a matter of time. So great questions today. Had a blast doing these. Same thing next week. I'll be posting on the Instagram again. Yeah, if you are new here, I think I'm one subscriber away from 189. It'd be great to get to 190, maybe even 200. Maybe even 10 new people watch the Deano Show today. That'd be really fucking cool if 10 new people watch the Deano Show today. So if you are new here and you are not yet subscribed, consider it. eventually one day it's going to be really big, and you're going to have to subscribe either way, whether or not you like me or you don't like me. So you might as well subscribe now. That's all I got for you guys in this week's episode of the Deano Show, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out.